Alright, planting these amaryllis bulbs. Now a bulb this size can go in a bigger pot. You need at least an inch around the edges. And see, it's slowly coming up. That's an old bulb. That could be 20 years old. This bulb still has white on the roots, but it hasn't come out yet. So don't give up on it. They don't all sprout out at the same time. So I'm going to put this back in there with the others. Now one this size can go in this pot, but probably not any bigger than that. Ones these sizes are ideal for that. But see, it's got too much roots on it, so all that, anything that's dead, you just cut off with a pair of scissors. And then I would cut that to where everything stops about right there at the bottom of the screen. And see, it had a bulb last year. Well, it's so small I might as well let it stay with the parent bulb. Now this one here has way too many roots on it. But you can see some down in here. It's hard to do unless I get the tripod. But all that brown and roots that are dead, you need to cut off. But pretty much all that needs to stay. Maybe cut a few of those out. Pull out all the dead stuff here. But probably right about there is where this is going to get cut off. So it'll have about 4 or 5 inches of roots and maybe 15 or 20 of them. Now the little teeny roots is what you really like. So I would never cut one off that has those smaller roots coming off of it. Where some of these, that one right there with a little yellow on it, it doesn't have many small roots coming off. Notice they don't have any coming off. So if you thin these out, take the roots off that have the least amount of secondary roots coming off of them. And see, it has a baby coming under the bottom. So I'll get back with you in a minute, show you what they look like after I cut. There's a spider plant that broke off just a minute ago. If you want to plant that, just pull all this old dead stuff off. I got a whole seed bag under here that I've always put my trash in. Just pull off all the dead stuff. And just stick that in some soil and put some water on it, and you'll have a nice spider plant by the end of this year. Alright, when you're doing these, we're losing light out here on the East Coast, but see all this, a lot of this is dead. Most of it will just pull off in your fingers. Just run through it with your fingers like it was a comb and you were combing your hair. I don't know if people even use combs anymore. I don't have enough hair to use a comb. And while you're at it, all this stuff up here is like an onion. It's like the outer skin is dried up. Now you don't pull off anything more than is necessary. But what you want to do is get all the loose stuff off of it. Because it's going to come off during the season anyway, and I'd rather do it out here in the greenhouse than inside in my bay window. And this is the plate. You don't want to do anything to damage that. That's damper than I would like it to be. But if that plate is ruined, on most bulbs it has a plate on the bottom, and above that plate is where all the roots come out. And if anything happens to that plate, this bulb could be as big as a grapefruit and it's worthless. So you have to pay attention to that plate and don't damage that. And any root, now that might just be dirty, but if it's discolored, I would take it off. And all you have to do, this stuff is tender, just cut off with a little pair of scissors. So you can go in there and cut that off. And see, I want about that height. And I'm leaving those secondary roots. That's all you got to do. This one's a lot bigger and a lot of roots on a little plant. Well, I'm just going to give it a haircut to start with. And then I want to save some of these that's got a lot of roots on them. But I don't need but 4 or 5 inches of roots because it's going to root some more. And this will give it room. And then you just comb through it with your fingers and get all the old stuff off from last year. You don't need any decayed or dead matter in there. And I don't like to pull anything away from that plate. I like to cut everything away from it. Now if it would just break off real easy, it's acquired feel. But that maybe about just that much more. So you have that much roots on that much plant, and that'll go in these pots. Okay, this is how I plant them up. You want to get soil all around those roots, but you want the roots down in the pot. I've already put some soil in the pot, and I'll scoop out some. I'll put the bulb where the height I want it to be. I will start putting soil around from the outside and try to work my fingers between the roots to get so there's no air pockets in there. The roots need to attach itself to soil and have some moisture around it so it'll grow. And see, if that's just a little lower than I would like it, it could be just a little bit higher, but that would certainly be good. But all you would have to do is get some soil in your hand and lift it up just ever so slightly and poke down with your fingers around it. And it's where I would like it. And then all this is going to settle after you water it in. Now, you never water it all the way to the top, fill it up to the top. You can never water it. It always runs off the side. But this is dry potting soil, my homemade. You saw me make it on my videos. And all I have to do is add water. I'll turn around here and get my watering can. And you don't ever want to water the bulb. But see, like if I had that soil all the way up to the top, you couldn't put any water on this. And see, that water will settle all that soil around all those roots, and they'll all come in contact with it. And that's like maybe 4 or 5 ounces of water. If it's too much, it'll run out the bottom. And then from the future, I'll have it in trays in my dining room in that bay window where it gets all that morning sun, and I water it in the tray and it'll suck up what it wants. And if it doesn't drink all the water, because I can have 8 of them in here, I will take all the pots out and pour the water off. And see how it's settled back in this corner? And that's all you got to do. Now, it's nothing to fill in that little corner to make it even all the way around, but that's how you actually put them in the pots. And now all I got to do is 20 some. Thank you.